Raw kicks off with Dean Ambrose and he says he's wondering what's going on, so let's bring out Seth Rollins. And Rollins comes out. They talk about dogging each other when they put their hands out, Ambrose 2 weeks ago and then Seth last week. Then they both put their hands out at separate times but move their arm away. Rollins goes to leave and Dean turns him around. They start pushing each other. Then they begin to brawl and they spill to the outside. And Sheamus and Cesaro run out and start beating Dean and Seth up. Eventually Dean and Seth get the upper hand and they throw Sheamus and Cesaro out of the ring. And then they finally both put their arms out at the same time to a pretty big pop. Kurt Angle comes out and makes Cesaro and Sheamus with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam for the tag titles. Last week I stuffed up and said there were going to be 3 triple threat women's matches, but there were only 2, and the winners of those verse each other tonight to determine who gets to verse Alexa at SummerSlam, so the number 1 contenders match is Nia Jax vs Sasha Banks. Alexa Bliss comes out to watch the match and looks to be the lifeguard for the match as she takes a seat at the bottom of the ramp on a lifeguard chair. The match was there, and Sasha beat Nia with a crossface, so she's versing Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam for the women's title. Backstage, the Hardy Boys are told by Kurt Angle that the Revival won't be competing at SummerSlam, so they won't have a match. Then Bo Dallas interrupts and tells Kurt The Miz wants to talk to him. The Miz is upset that Brock Lesnar bashed him and the boys last week. Kurt Angle says he can take that problem up with Brock, and that Axel can verse Jason Jordan tonight because he didn't get to verse him last week. The Miz says Axel isn't versing him, I am, and Kurt's fine with it. Then a referee runs in the office telling Kurt there's a problem with Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. Back from the commercial, and Finn and Bray are brawling backstage, and because the camera guys are so shit, we can see Kurt off to the side. They get broken up by special cameo appearances, Jamie Noble, Finlay and Joey Mercury. Kurt gets in the middle of them and tells them to wait until SummerSlam, and Finn Balor says we can do it now, and Kurt says if you don't want to wait till then the match will happen tonight. Elias is out to play a song for the crowd. He gets interrupted by R-Truth, and as Truth is getting in the ring, Elias drops him and hits him with the plectrum. Big Cass came out and talked shit about Enzo and the Big Show. Enzo came out and cut a better promo as always. Then the Big Show came out and got in the ring with Cass, and for some reason Gallows and Anderson came out and helped Cass beat down the Big Show, and they just kept knocking Enzo off the apron. Then they tied Big Show's arms up and put it in between the cage and the door and slammed it on his arm and kept stomping it. Neville and Akira Tozawa had a match for the Cruiserweight title, and it was a good match, probably the best one on the show. Good spots and storytelling. The finish was Neville going up to hit Red Arrow but missing it, and then Akira hitting with the Senton Bomb and won the match, becoming the new Cruiserweight champion. We were told later in the night that Neville has reinstated his rematch clause for SummerSlam. Backstage, Emma and Mickie James get into a little argument and decide to have a match against each other. Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor had a pretty match, and Bray beat Finn after he hit the ropes while Finn was on the turnbuckle, causing him to hurt his balls. Then Bray hit Sister Abigail for the win. After the match, Bray Wyatt threw a bucket of red paint on Finn. Emma and Mickie James had their match, and I think the segment was better than their match. Mickie won with a spinning heel kick. Finn Balor comes out of Angle's office and tells the girl interviewing him that he got a rematch against Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam, and says that Bray has his demons. Well, I'm going to show him I have demons too. Obviously teasing the appearance of Demon Balor for SummerSlam, and stupidly later in the show they announced that it will be Demon Balor vs Bray at SummerSlam, and show a photo of him in his paint. How retarded is that? Jason Jordan and The Miz are having their match, and Jason is in control, so Axel and Bo Dallas interfere, and the Hardy Boys come out to make the save. After the break, there's a 3-on-3 happening with the Hardys and Jason Jordan versing The Miz, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. The match was alright, and Jeff got the win with the Swanton Bomb on Bo Dallas. Brock Lesnar comes out with Paul Heyman, and Heyman cuts a good promo. Then Joe comes out and tells Lesnar he wants to choke him out for the win on Sunday, not anybody else in the match. Braun Strowman comes out and says, "Roman Reigns is trash," or something like that. Then Reigns comes out and just spears Joe like an upset bully. Reigns turns around into Braun, who gives Roman a running power slam. Then Brock and Braun face off, but security guards hold both of them back. They get little punches in on each other, then start dropping all the security guards. But then the roster comes out from the back to hold them apart, and Raw goes off the air with Cole saying some dumb shit about, "How do you contain them Sunday? You don't!" He's really shit at what he does. We'll see you next week for the next Rush to Raw review.